Okay, here we are.
Me too.
We are here. Hello, everyone. Um, well, call me a bonehead because we're talking and talking, and I hadn't hit the live stream yet. So we have to kind of start over. Anyway, we're here. The Galactic gals are here to share and the galactic intel that we have received since we met last, and to be live. We are live, correct? Yes, we are
Yes,
live.
officially. Next time I'll know to look for that because I was like, God, it's so weird.
I know.
Something
I was
feels
thinking
weird.
that.
Like it feels like nobody is here. And I didn't want to like stress out, be like, nobody's here. Nobody, what happened? And I was like racking my brain. Where did I not put this out? Why is nobody here? Because nobody was really here because they couldn't be.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, what? Something's not right. I didn't know what it was, and there was this message: you can't see chat unless you go live. I'm like, we are live, but no, we weren't. Okay, so as I said in the last video, I'm just learning Restream. My other co-shenanigator, Michelle, as some people might know, runs the show on the other side, on the other channel. So, excusez-moi, but we're here now. Sorry we're late.
Technically, we weren't. You all were late. We just didn't open the doors.
That's right. You could
That
call
would
it.
be like the curtain not going up, but all the actors are like halfway through the first act. Everybody's like, "Are we going to lift the curtain?" At least we know my intuition is not off. I was like,
No,
it
it's
literally
not.
feels like nobody's here.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So where were we?
Well, I
We
don't
were,
know. Nobody heard anything in the
I
beginning.
know.
So, what's up,
I
Sharon? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I came in my spaceship um, because I like to travel in spaceships now. So yeah, and I'm just above the Earth's atmosphere. The Wi-Fi up here is really good, by the way, as you can tell. But I have to hit the live button. How are you, Ashley?
I'm good. I'm good. Actually been feeling a little bit weird recently. And I feel like some days, I don't know, it's just like very much a roller coaster. And I'm just reminding myself of non-permanence, especially when I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But I definitely feel pretty out of alignment today and yesterday. Not out of alignment like I'm doing something wrong, but just like something is coming up that feels pretty big, and I have a feeling I will find out soon enough.
Well, you were talking about your upcoming course, which sounds awesome. And can you share
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So my next course, we're about to finish the light language activation and healing program, and then the next 9-week course is called Gaia in the Galactics, and it's going to start the first week of May. So there is a little bit of time, but I'm basically working on the outline of it. So every year I do what I call a wild card course because I always do light language and channeling. And this is the wild card course. So a lot of different beings. I'm trying to figure out which beings are going to come in every week. And so every week there's going to be a galactic being with their basically counterpart, their sort of Earth counterpart. So, for example, unicorns and the Pegasus beings. There will be some elementals. Oh, quantum. I like calling her Quantum Yin, but Quan Yin and Water Dragon. Quantum Yin and the Water Dragons are coming in.
She just came to me recently too, to
Yeah,
Kuan Yin. I felt her around for about a week, and I ended up channeling a message from her. She sent me a message. Yeah, that's
yeah.
nice. I love her
So
energy.
yeah, and then the canine beings are coming with the Anubis collective. So it should definitely rock my world for sure because it always does. And that's what we were talking about is before you all came.
Before you got here, yeah.
Our practice run was what we were sort of chatting about is I always feel the courses really intensely and all of the people that are going to be in them and be in that container, plus all the energies. And so everything always comes up. And I was asking Sharon how she feels, how her process is going with writing the book, because I would imagine that it's also pretty intense.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Ashley. That course sounds amazing. Definitely. And you were talking about how you could feel the energies coming in already and maybe priming you for it, for all those energies, correct? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, yes, when I am writing my first book, my goal is to have it in publishing by the end of the year. So I'm really excited about that. And I've noticed I'm writing it about my near-death experiences and the aftermath in my work with Yeshua and everything that I've not everything, but a lot of what I've experienced since then and to date so far, because this is my first book, that how he's helped me. Yeah, helped me so much, and what I've remembered about who I am, who we are, kind of thing. Yeah. So, and I was sharing with Ashley that
Sort of
whenever
stripped down our conversation to you.
that when I have journals and journals of experiences, but as I'm writing my book and I'm diving back into the experiences that I'm sharing, I realize that there are some things that when I do share these experiences verbally, that I either skip over or forget. And as I'm writing them and diving into it, it's like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that, or I don't talk about that, or that's even more amazing than I remember as I'm diving into it or as I can express it, if that makes any sense. It's just more and more comes to me. Yeah. So so it's a journey. It's and I you know what? And I got this message this morning as I was writing that I'm writing this for me because I'm actually stringing events together, experiences together that are a continuation of my awakening, of my, you know, that type of thing where one thing led to another and another another experience led to another, all of this. So I have to so because I'm just putting down experiences, right? And then I'm like, oh my gosh, that led to this experience. The experience that I had put, you know, maybe a couple chapters earlier led to this experience. So now I have to put those together. And I didn't realize that and before until I started putting these experiences together. And so that's really been a journey for me. So, you know, even if I don't sell billions and billions, at least I know it's a healing process for me. And that's what we were laughing about too, is
Yeah. It's going to be translated into 40 different languages, and she's going to sell it on Mars too.
on Mars. Yeah.
Yeah, Mars.
Because we're going to be living, you know, we'll have colonies on Mars anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
you'll be able to find my book on Mars. Those of you that
Mm-hmm.
will have, that'll be in the colonies on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what's going on in the galactic world? Well, that would be one thing that you're talking about with your course, bringing through all that, you know, their take, those beings' take on how to, I'm assuming, how to help us move into the galactic community with ease
Yeah.
and grace.
Yeah, I feel like in general, and I think this is sort of maybe, I don't know, a lot of this is probably just dragon oriented, but and I know that on in a lot of these updates, I'm always like, but we have to embody it and we have to do X, Y, and Z. Really, all of this, at least from my perspective and experience, and don't get me wrong, I will almost do anything for information, and I love information. And I feel like in order to receive information, we really have to make space in our lives, in our bodies, and in our beings in order to receive to be able to receive information, because information is coming from, I mean, it's a form, right? Information, right? So it's basically vibration getting translated down into information that we can use. So it's beneficial to take information that resonates with you and to really embody it, or see what needs to for you in your life, to take action on it. In what the beings call inspirited action, right? So it's not with like purity of motivation, so not doing something to avoid something else. So I just hope that when we're talking about a lot of these things, that whatever it is that we're talking about, that we can sort of translate it all the way down to the human. And I think that's why so I think one year it was, the course I did was called Meet the Galactics, and then last year we did Dragons Alchemia, and this one is literally called Gaia and the Galactics. And there are beings that have had bodies that are partnering with their counterparts that don't have or haven't had sort of a form of a human body. And I think that in and of itself is part of the message. So information is really nothing. I mean, we live in an information age, and we're constantly bombarded with it. So, and then some of us are seeking more. And you can say that information is part of even consumerist culture. And if we're just consuming, but never digesting or integrating it, it doesn't necessarily benefit or help us. And so much of the ascension process is really about enlightening our body, or dropping density from our bodies, so that we can transition into this new earth / new world that many of us are desiring, in these frequencies. And every time we get to experience these solar flares, and there's been a lot of them, these are basically, one little flare is like a regular, like that is new earth, right? I mean, that's like, you take one flare, like that is the frequency of new earth all of the time. And we can barely function when like a whole bunch come in. Everybody's like, ah. Like, I can't handle it. I'm sick. I'm tired. I'm this, I'm that. My body hurts. I have a massive headache. So we can't just necessarily just enter into new earth at this time. And so these solar flares are going to keep on increasing and increasing. And a long time ago, I got the message that it's in training our physical structure to be able to transition with the earth, because she is shifting into a solar logos, and we are children of the sun. So we also get to shift into these vibrations with our little earth bodies and become little solar beings. But we have to be able to sort of welcome and allow these energies to come in so we can move with them.
Yeah, that makes total sense, because we can't help but shift. we, we can't help but change. Change is part of the deal, right? Yeah. So do you have a timeline on that solar logos thing?
Oh no, I think that's going to be a while. I mean, we will be completely different. I mean, the whole thing Earth will be a sun.
Right.
So
I know, right? It's like, do I have time to get my affairs in order?
Yeah, we're not. It's not happening tomorrow. We're all dead, and there's nothing to get in order, because we would all be gone.
Right,
So
because
we're not leaving anything to anybody.
that's the so
It's up in flames.
I don't have to move out into it. I don't have to move to Montana, to get away from everything. Maybe it won't hit me
No,
there.
Montana won't exist. There will be nothing. We will be a fireball hurling through space.
That's funny. Yeah, I guess not in our lifetime here.
And it'll be a process. It's going to be a
Right, I
process,
know.
but we're on that process. I personally don't foresee that everything changes so drastically overnight, that tons and tons of beings immediately are wiped off the planet. Or that all of us would be wiped off the planet all at once. It's too, those cataclysmic events are very, very, like detrimental to the souls themselves. So that's not in the plans. whatever the
Yeah,
plans are,
whatever
right?
the plans are,
These
right?
blueprints, let me read them to you.
Well, you know that you know this. There's been so many prophecies about a solar flash happening on our planet from ancient texts.
Right.
It was, kind of scary, and there's been people in the intel community that have talked about a solar flash happening on our planet. David Wilcock being one of them, which I really admire him. I really like him. Um, and there was a solar flash in Alpha Centauri around the same time, apparently, um, where when we were supposed to have one, but it took like 9 years for the information to get to us.
Mm.
So it did happen in December of 2000. When did two, 2000? When were we supposed to have the end of the world? 20,
Yeah, some
2012?
so
2012?
oh, yeah, that was, like, March or May of 2012, I
I
remember
think it
that.
was 2012. Yeah.
Sorry, it wasn't funny, but it was really funny.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, the end of the Mayan calendar. That was it. 2012.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a
So
huge transformational year, and so
it was.
sometimes I
Mhm.
feel like we're sort of interpreting these things.
We're- Right. Yeah, well, when there's lots and lots of ancient texts writing the same thing, it makes you wonder. Uh, but anyway, so apparently, according to David Wilcock and what he found out was there was a solar flash that in the Alpha Centauri system,
Mm,
um, anyway. So whether they got it wrong or the galactics moved it to another part of the solar system, who knows, or the galaxy.
yeah, or
Who doesn't
it
know?
was, multiple things are happening, like, it was true because that was still an extremely, um transitioning event, and I would say probably a lot of people went through a massive awakening process in 2012, right?
Right, yeah.
Mm. So,
Well, it was a good way to get us to take stock, and maybe what really matters if there's the idea that we won't exist anymore.
yeah, I sort of feel like if there's like the other big solar flash that's coming, to me that feels more of like an apocalyptic timeline, right? So it would wipe out like if we lose technology, we're in really big trouble, right? And then that would automatically create an apocalypse, and especially in these more developed places, you might actually wish you didn't live in a Western
Yeah,
world when that happens.
I don't see
Um,
that happening anymore. I did 20 years ago
yeah,
when I was being shown a lot of stuff. I believe that we've gotten off that timeline.
yeah.
Yeah, and things are happening more slowly with us. So we averted that. Hopefully that's what happened is we averted that timeline.
Hmm.
But yeah, I do see a lot happening in the future for us. I mean, a lot's happening right now. Um, and we were just talking about Ashley and I were talking about should we mention anything about the banking thing, the crash, uh, and the way I mean I know nothing about it about it. I just know I'm seeing that some banks have crashed. Right, uh, we've been warned about this for a while now that this was going to happen. So it doesn't surprise me. I did have a thought maybe I need to pull my money out of the bank, but then I got my higher guidance saying no, don't go in panic mode. It's not going to be like that. I'm not saying that there's not going to be more happening, but I don't feel that it's something that we need to be in fear of in our own world. Unless you've got millions and millions of dollars invested in certain banks, then you might want to. Like we were talking about, spread it out around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$249,000 in every bank.
In every account, yeah. FDIC, yeah, insures up to $250,000. So, so spread your money around. We've got our Cayman accounts and, you
Yeah,
know, and
the money's still there.
it's still there.
Yeah.
But anyway, we just wanted to maybe touch on that a little bit. Fear is the killer. So I don't see anything like that happening that's going to be um, back where we go back to the depression or anything like that. Because you see a lot of headlines like that, right?
Yeah, we might kind of kind of get near it, swerve around it. I
Right.
think 2009 we were extremely, was it 2009,
2008. 2000.
2008? Thank you.
Yeah.
I was out of the
2009.
country. So, I mean, so the other thing is, and when I say out of the country, I was out of off grid line. I was out for like 3 years. I was in the Peace Corps in a very rural area. I wasn't looking at
Right.
stuff. I had like no idea what was going on. So I think that sometimes when these things happen, they do affect some of us more than
Mhm.
others. And I think that's always important to remember, because there's a lot of people, even these banks, um, with these recent sort of financial problems, where fear is getting kicked up in the collective. So I've been working with recently a lot of financial, just in my own personal life, right? And
Mhm.
so those things can get even more activated by the collective that's going through a collective experience. So I just think it's important to remember. I don't think that we quite understood how close in 2008 we came to. So I feel like a lot of things that are happening is, solar flares, things going down. We're getting really, really, we're like pushing up to the edge. Like we're
Yeah.
getting really close to the edges of kind of a lot of collapses. But I think we know that the medical system is sort of shifting in the way that people, at least in the United States, think about health and what health is, and how do they want to have health care. Because I mean, I think we all know that health care doesn't really serve us. I have a
Mhm.
friend that, and a lot of people that really need services, that there's so many hoops and everything for them to jump through, they can't really get the help that they need. And so all of the systems and structures are going to be needing to, we can't, some of us are here to look at what needs to be created. I mean, we all are here to like, what might a new financial system look like? What might a new healthcare system look like? How can we participate and facilitate thinking differently about finances, about how we take care of ourselves, about what it means to be healthy? Because I feel like, at least in the Western world, we're a little we're kind of out of alignment of what like health is, right? And
Right.
we're, a lot of us are in like sort of the synthetic realms of things. We
Well,
just only do
we're
what the
not in
doctor
tune with
said.
our bodies.
Yeah,
Exactly. We're not in tune with our bodies. And so, yeah, we've been programmed to rely on other people to be
yeah.
healthy.
And
Yeah.
our bodies are really designed to be in alignment with the earth,
Mhm.
so that, and when we're in alignment with the earth, our bodies are designed to actually heal themselves. And so when we work with the subtle energies of plants, it can, those plants are designed to basically bring light into life, right? And
Right.
so, this, I'm talking, it doesn't have to be like psychedelic plants. It can basil, mugwort, like working with different local plants to help with allergies. And sometimes we do need Western medicine, and that's okay too, right? And I think that there's this very much either or sort of mentality that we have, right or wrong. And I know Kuan Yin always comes in, and just even the story of her, that was originally a hymn, and how she appears, sometimes male, sometimes female, but the Western world has sort of eroticized her into this sort of feminine frequency. They are really powerful, and that the message with them is, it's not either or, it's both and I feel like when we can start looking at everything around us with the eyes of both and, then we can actually integrate a lot more and open up more to find out what works for us and what doesn't work for us. And probably with there's probably going to be a lot of communities that break off and sort of have their own financial system, and
I'm seeing that too.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, feel that it's not gonna be that far off where we are going to be in the space of, where, disclosure, where we are accepting of extraterrestrial life, and I think that that is the underpinning of everything that's been hidden from us is extraterrestrial life. That they are they are already here. They have been here. Um, they've kept up in certain faction has kept us enslaved for so long, and that extraterrestrials do exist. That we're not the only planet that has intelligent life on it, kind of thing. So I believe that that is what we're the goal in the community that I follow and work with is that it's important for us to open our eyes to it because it hasn't been happening because a lot of, well, it's been kept from us for lots of reasons, but one of them, understand, is because humanity is not able to accept it. Because you can look at a ship up in the sky and you might be able to see it, but some people around you can't see it
Hmm.
because they don't have that in their awareness in their whatever reason, but they don't have that in their awareness or isn't able to. So I do believe that disclosure is probably the most important thing we can do because we have so much technology that's been hidden from us. And as we become aware of our galactic heritage, our galactic neighbors, moving into the galactic community, we will be able to understand and bring in quantum healing and those types of things and understand exactly how our body heals without without taking a pill, those types of things, because we the technology is there. It's been there for a very long time, what we might call med beds or something like that. And
Hmm.
so medical devices that can actually grow limbs, those types of things, and helping us live longer, for one thing, because we're meant to live a lot longer.
Yeah.
We're getting our DNA is getting ramped up as we speak, pretty much on a regular basis. So bringing back the DNA that we were meant to have and that we do have, and without it being capped off, at 120 years, is what I understand was what happened to us. And so moving into that space of,
And we don't even get to 100. Like, what isn't
I
the
know,
average lifetime of some? It's like women are 80 and men are like 75 or
70s. I
something like
know,
that.
right?
I don't know what it is, but it's not that high.
I know,
And then
right? And
most of the people, I know an amazing man, and he passed away a while ago, but I think he was like, we would write each other letters, but he was like 98, 99, something like that. And his brain was totally fine, which is a gift in and of itself. But his body, he's just like the body is just not working, but the brain is working.
so we'll have avatar bodies. And and think about it, and we'll be able to we'll be able to bring our consciousness into another avatar body with full memory of who we are. We don't have to go through that reincarnation cycle and forget. Is the more we are accepting of ourselves and heal what we have going on that keeps us in this in a denser reality, um, and accepting of the galactic community and knowing that we are part of that community because we already are. It's just a matter of remembering that and knowing that, and envisioning that world, that because it's already there, it's just a matter of us stepping into it. With the anti-gravity cars, I've seen them, um, those those na- places on the planet, areas on the planet where we are in tune with each other. And I mean, we're talking about it now. Who was it? I mean, Trump came out and talked about vertical lift and vertical landing cars. talking about these cities. Uh, I don't remember what he called them, but well, we'll have those types of things. That's flying cars. We're talking about it. Flying cars, flying bikes have been invented. There was an article. People, you can buy a flying bike.
I didn't
For,
know.
I know, I didn't either.
I
Until
hope it
just
comes with
recently.
a sidecar.
Right. It probably can. So yeah, look it up. Flying bikes. And the article was written in September 2022. So
Hmm.
it's just now came out on Yahoo is what I saw. So things like that, where there's lots of, I mean, look at what happened in Giza. They found the Giza pyramid. They found another chamber, another tunnel that is so expansive that there's labyrinths underneath the Giza pyramid that we didn't know about. So things like that are coming up. They found another. It isn't in mainstream, but I watched Michael Sala. And do you remember the Wing Makers, Ashley?
Yep.
Okay, they according to Michael Sala's contact, he's in the army and he's allowed to talk about this. He was taken. He and four other or five other guys from the army were taken to a cave or cavern in the Grand Canyon. And the way it's described sounds like Chaco Canyon, which is in the Grand Canyon, where the wing makers had their had all that, all that technology and paintings on the wall and discs with music. I was so into the wing makers 20 years ago, but then it was infiltrated and they said it was just fiction. But I knew it was real. I was connecting to them. I was connecting
Hmm.
to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so this is coming to light. Coming to light. Things are being uncovered of extraterrestrial presence. There was a spaceship in this canyon, in the Grand Canyon, in our um, in our country. Those types of things. Um, I mean, things are being uncovered. Lots and lots of things are being uncovered so that we can move slowly but surely, hopefully, into that reality, that realization that that we are moving into a galactic community. Okay, so here's a comment or a question.
Ooh, that's fancy, Sharon.
Daphne, yes, I got that right. Okay. All right, Daphne. Hey, Daphne. You mentioned uploading of your consciousness into an avatar. Are you talking about a kind of Neuralink? Do you think this is a good thing happening? I'm not talking about Neuralink. Okay. I'm talking about something that the Galactics and we've done many, many thousands of years ago before we decided to come back onto this into this realm and help with bringing the bringing humanity up to speed, where you're in a body for 200, 300, 400, 500 years or whatever, and the body breaks down on you, and you have an avatar maybe in stasis, another body. You get to choose your body. You have another body in stasis. I've seen myself in stasis chambers in my out of body experiences. So you can have another body in a stasis chamber. The extraterrestrials already know how to do this, and so we would know how to do this. And I know humans do too because they learn from the extraterrestrials and secret space programs and things like that, where you can. And it's not. I don't know how they do it, but I understand they pull your consciousness out somehow, some way, and insert it in another body, another avatar, where
I
you
miss
have your
those series
yeah.
of things. Right.
Siri. She's listening. Uh oh.
I don't know why she's speaking, because I'm about to say a whole bunch of stuff about technology, and she's like, "What? I'm listening." And I'm like, "No, you're not."
Uh-oh. Turn her off.
I know. I don't even know how, but it's like random. She always talks when somebody else is talking. It's not even me. I'm like, what? Nobody asked a question because I thought they were supposed to go with. So speaking of, I don't know if I don't exactly know what Neuralink means unless it's literally like Avatar the movie, and I haven't seen it for
Mm,
a while. And I certainly haven't seen the new one.
it could be.
That to me doesn't feel good at all. However, I feel like that is a possibility. So I feel like what is happening right now is and a lot of there was some massive artificial intelligence AI timelines that had like a lot of dragon bodies that had been like captured and like hooked up to them from other dimensional frequencies, right? But they're still here and they're still affecting what we're experiencing. So there's a couple of things that are happening, and I always say never judge somebody for choosing an artificial intelligence timeline. It's a very, very slippery slope. I always like to say that I am on the organic ascension timeline, which means I am working with this body. I know that I'm a template holder, which means that I am basically making adjustments with my physical body and a lot of the plants and a lot of the beings. And there's a lot of energies that are helping me, and none of it is easy. And there are other people that are out there that are like me. And so when we make shifts, it means that we're putting instruction sets into the morphogenetic field. So that way, other people, if they're choosing organic timelines, can also make adjustments, because a lot of our bodies can actually shift and sort of self heal so that we might not need to rely on what Sharon is talking about. However, some of us might be given a choice and some of us might want to stay here. And so that might be a good option. And then we have maybe more of the Neuralink-esque or other types of machine takeover, right? So there's plenty of beings that are here, because when we remember that when every decision that we make and everything that we heal in this dimension affects every dimension above this one. So that means that we're healing all of our galactic families, all of these other iterations of ourself that are existing in other timelines and other places. Then it can be beneficial that maybe somebody that was in an Orion war, or that has another part of them that made not great choices. Who knows? Maybe there's a gray aspect of you that is somewhere, and they definitely went down some wrong timelines, right? So there are some people that are here to go down the AI timelines and then to choose differently, and then to get back maybe on an organic one. So I think it's always beneficial not to judge people, because sometimes we have these we have to go down these more challenging sort of roads in order to choose differently, so that we can heal these parts of ourselves. And by doing that, we're recollecting a lot of busted pieces of our soul that had been here during another timeline, or that was even off planet. So that's sort of my theory on that. And I'm definitely, and it's really slippery slope, because what is artificial intelligence? Is an Apple Watch? I have one and I don't wear it that much, but I mean, is that technology enough? And then technology that's in our clothes, and then it's like, oh, this is good thing, I have a heart rate monitor on me all of the time. And these are like wonderful things, but then when do we say no? What if somebody's like, here's this amazing suit, it can help you run faster or fly, do you want it? And it's like, I don't know, because some of it's sort of fun, and then what if it grows on you, or you can take a pill that like gives you a third eye? I don't know. So it's sort of like this idea of knowing where your limits are, knowing where you'll say no, and knowing if you don't, I don't know. It's just, and what's not right for you might be right for somebody else. I'm still a little bit like on the fence about the VR headsets. I actually bought a headset because I was like, I'm going to exercise with it. And I'm trying to sell it right now on
Yeah.
Facebook. It's brand new. I never put it on my face, because as soon as I got it, because I was like, I'm going to exercise and listen to music and punch things in the air, because it'll be really fun.
Yeah, I had one too.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I don't really want this near my face at all. But I don't have, but a lot of people have had amazing experiences with it, meditative ones, and things are all glowing. I don't know.
I didn't like having it on my face, on my it was just so I didn't like it. It was so bulky and because you put your phone on it, right? The one I was using, you attach your phone to it, and then you
Oh.
run whatever program on your
Oh, you
phone.
mean like Bluetooth? It's not like the phone isn't on your face.
No, it's in the set, and it was an old one, I guess, when they first came out. I got it
Yeah,
free.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a gift because they messed up on my account or something. I can't remember. But anyway, it
Yeah.
was when they first came out. But it was like, gosh, this thing is annoying. Um, yeah, and I think when as an organic being, at least I feel I am,
Yeah.
that using AI, we can use it as a tool, right? As long as we're
Yeah, you
using
have to
it
be
as
really conscious with it, including video games, watching
a tool.
TV, being on your phone, whatever.
Right, right. Yeah, definitely. And when Siri pipes up and says, "AI, I'm listening."
Clearly, it's listening.
Clearly, yeah, we kind of know that already. But my take on what I was talking about, Daphne, is that this is something that we used to do. We've done before, and we are going to get back to doing it again if we choose, if we have that choice, where we don't have to reincarnate. We don't have to forget the veil, we don't have to forget who we are, that kind of thing, and forget our experiences, that we can move our consciousness into an avatar body organically.
Mhm.
That's my take on it. Hope that helps. Carissa
Yeah.
has the
Yeah, that seems more up your alley.
hmm that's up my alley,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm curious about that actually.
Yeah. Um, okay. Uh, you're welcome. So, Carissa says, I've seen a documentary where after a near death, a woman's consciousness swapped bodies and never switched back. Apparently, that's an accepted phenomena in the East. Oh, wow. Swapped bodies.
Like like if Sharon has a near death experience and she comes and kicks me out of mine and
I know.
then
What happens
and then
to the
I'm in
other
her,
one?
like Freaky Friday.
Is it? Oh, I don't know. I don't know that one.
You know, where like the mom becomes the daughter and then the daughter becomes the mom.
Oh,
There's a movies,
okay.
they literally are like and then
They
she's like, "Oh, this
switched.
is amazing," you know? It's like, and then the daughter's like, "What am I wearing? Who are these people?"
I never saw that movie, but it sounds
Yeah,
funny.
it is funny.
Yeah, apparently that's an accepted phenomenon. Accepted phenomenon to switch bodies. Okay.
Or like a belief in the East. I kind of want
Yeah,
to go
from
read
the
about
East.
that.
They're they've got a leg up on us, that's for sure.
Which totally debunks the belief that nobody can just steal your body.
Yeah.
Which is my belief.
Well,
Nobody
there's
can just steal
walk-ins.
my body.
No one I believe that too, and there's walk-ins. I believe in walk-ins. I've been told I'm a
Yeah, but they're
walk-in.
not
I don't
stealing your
know.
body. You're like agreeing to the
It's an
switch
agreement.
ballot, right? And you're
Okay.
locked in. So it's like,
That's
right?
crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it was an agreement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
It was an agreement, definitely.
Like,
But, when you think about it, um, wouldn't it be awesome to I mean, we already kinda do that now. This body ends up deteriorating and dying, and then we move our consciousness into another body, except we go through the birth process and we don't have our memories. It's an avatar body. We're in avatar bodies. We never die. We're just, moving our consciousness from one body to another. Except it would be nice not to if we that we can choose not to be born and lose our memories, type of thing.
I feel like that's an Earth thing, though. Like, if you go anywhere else, you don't lose memory.
Well I've heard that we do reincarnate on lots and lots and lots of planets. It's
Yeah.
a cycle that we can choose to do.
Yeah.
I don't know about losing memory, though. That might be an Earth thing because of the uh, the overlords that were, that took over this planet. But anyway, that's cool. What's the name of that, Carissa?
Yeah, yeah. I also would
Yeah,
like to
that
know
you
the name of this.
yeah, that's crazy. That is freaky.
Like, I wonder, did they swapped bodies? Because I could imagine a scenario. So that okay, they swap bodies, right? So the other person, because a lot of times in near-death experiences, I think, Sharon, like people will come back from them, and I'm just picking something random. They all of a
Yeah.
sudden can't stand, I don't know, ice cream or
Hmm.
something, right? But they always loved ice. So there'll be like some massive shifts in them that like other people will be
I
like, "What
couldn't
do
eat
you?"
meat. I couldn't eat meat anymore after my near-death experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I do, I eat fish now, but I couldn't eat meat. I couldn't watch TV, especially anything that had any violence on it in it. But I've gotten more acclimated to this to this realm since then. It's been over 20 years. Um, but yeah, you're because you're in those higher states, and things can change for you. I've also heard that when people get a organ transplant, that
No,
they can
yeah.
take on the traits of the person
Yeah.
that they have that gave the organ, that donated the organ. That's crazy.
My mom, I'm laughing because my mom was maybe going to qualify for a liver transplant. And so we were talking about um um like a partial liver transplant, and then she's like, "Well, what if I had yours?" And I was like, "You'd be nice." Which I thought was hilarious, but she didn't laugh.
You didn't think it was funny?
Yeah, if you had a chunk of my liver, it'd make you nice. Cranky anymore.
Um,
I definitely believe in that, especially hearts and things,
yeah, yeah, I
which
know,
makes
but right, imagine if you're, like a vegan, and you get the heart of someone who's a meat eater, a carnivore,
and a
or
hunter.
and a hunter,
Yeah, like they hunt their own meat and eat it, which
and
is
a
different.
smoker, or I know,
I don't know.
that would
It
be
could
crazy.
shift. You could integrate that and maybe end up having more compassion for people who eat meat, because I feel like there are high vibrational ways to eat meat. We have tons of
Sure, I
indigenous
agree.
populations that eat meat, and they do it in a way where the animals offer themselves to them. They're not really hunting them; they're calling them in, and one will
Mhm.
offer itself from the collective.
Yeah, I get that,
And
totally. It's the way the animal is, uh, killed that makes all the difference in the quality of life, all that makes all the difference, I find.
did you feel in your near-death experience that you had, because I feel like some people have near-death experiences and they come back and now they know that God exists and all these other things, but some people come back and maybe they got massive upgrades, or they had a soul braid come in with, like, they had another sort of, it's not like another being comes in, but kind of, it's like another being comes in. So you're going through like a soul braid process.
Mhm.
Was yours, because you've had multiples, but did it feel like you got massive upgrades, or was it more about the messages and the awarenesses? I know you talk about this elsewhere all over the place, so we don't have to talk about it.
No, that's all right. Well, I don't know about my childhood one. Uh, what I haven't recovered all the memories after that one yet. I'm working on it though. But the one in 2001, um, well, I didn't remember my near-death experience for 2 years afterwards, after my mom passed. And
Mm.
so, but things were happening, definitely things were happening, but I didn't know to attribute it to an NDE. And so when I started working, um, after my mother passed, I started working with Yeshua, even though he didn't know it was him at the time, is when the memories started coming. So he had to step in slowly and gently for me to be able to recover memories of it because it was so intense, it would have blew me up, right? And I was just starting to have conscious out of body experiences.
Mm. Yeah, so all right, so it's like an integration process.
It was
Uh,
definitely an integration process,
in a huge
definitely.
way. 'Cause it's still a trauma, right? I mean, if you die and come back, that's a trauma. That is a physical trauma, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
right, yeah. But the trauma of it was um, coming back.
right, but there's still like a trauma, and there's still like a recognition of the physical body, and it can maybe open up and show you. Because I know, like for me, a lot of I didn't realize how much resistance I had to this matrix, like and to this body, like deeper layers and levels of stuff. And I think that in a lot of ways, these can be like traumas, and they can still feel really intense. And I'm not trying to put them into other acute traumas. I'm not trying to put them into the same category, but we can still feel a lot of things. And the more that we're in the body, then we start to maybe recall or remember other traumas
Right,
that we've had in the
exactly. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I couldn't sleep on my side for 2 years. I was in intense pain after that one for a lot. I was spent, a couple months in bed. So yeah, I needed to work on that first, just to be able to heal my body.
body. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
So
lot.
yeah, totally. Okay, Carissa says something about that. What was unusual was she switched bodies into a higher caste. That girl died. She was revived and didn't recognize any of her family and went to the slums to reunite with her original family. That is crazy.
All right, so they didn't switch bodies like Freaky Friday. It went into a different body, and then that body was
Okay.
revived.
And that body died. Okay.
That makes more sense to me. But I feel like that's not quite normal, but very interesting. And I bet you there was some kind of soul contract in there or something. It's not like I'm a random spirit looking around for something to steal.
Yeah.
But
There
I
was a
think
soul
that the
agreement.
whole caste system, I bet you there's some ancestors involved in the background of that one.
Yeah, yeah, and it sounds like she made that agreement to experience both sides of the caste system in one life. I mean, that's
Mhm.
experiencing you know, um, a lot of experience. We come here to experience, and so
Yeah.
that's fascinating.
And loss too, because if you want to go back to reunite with your family, but you're in a different body, like if I showed up and was like, "Hey, mom," but she's like, "Who the hell are you?" And I'm like, "I'm your daughter to go," and I like know all these things. Then the person just feels like you're crazy or you've been spying on them or who told you that? And how would you know that? Do you know what I mean? Because then
Yeah,
there's the other people that I can't remember what it's called, but they don't recognize something happens in their brain and they don't recognize faces. But there's different ways to handle it. But if it happens acutely and it's just like your child's face or just one person's face, then you literally think they're dead. And it's like, I mean, this just loss is very interesting how we experience loss, even if loss isn't there
right. Um,
or it's
so
there.
you're
Not
saying that they think that the person is dead if they don't
No,
have
I mean,
recognition
like
of their
like if
face?
your son is missing, even though your son is standing right in front of you, but because
Oh,
something happened in your brain that they literally look like some other child,
I
and you
see.
can't fathom them. So it's like the best
Gotcha.
thing to
Okay.
do is to say your son is dead,
Right. Yeah.
even though they're right there.
They were standing right there. That
Yeah.
reminds me of a hypnotist who shared a story where he did, you know, audience hypnosis, and he hypnotized. There was a father and a daughter there in the audience, and he hypnotized a father not to see his daughter who was standing right in front of him. and he couldn't see her, and she was standing right in front of him, and he was actually seeing through her.
Hmm.
He was not able to see her. He Because he was hypnotized to not be able to see her,
Yeah.
which ding 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 makes me think about not being able to see extraterrestrials, not being able to see flying UFOs, UAPs in the sky, that kind of thing. It's a hypnotic um, it's a hypnotic thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's crazy. So what is it that's, I mean, we aren't able to see through the veil that much. I mean, it's getting better and better, as long as we meditate and do other things, unplug from the outside world for a while, and we're able to see through the veil somewhat. But think about it. There's so much around us that we don't see.
Oh, millions of
Don't,
things.
don't see.
Millions of things.
Right. And as the veils drop, is that a good thing, or is that you know what I mean? We have to learn how to, I guess, focus focus on our frequency. Have a high frequency, and that way, what we I'm just thinking about this as we go. What we do see through the veil is all good stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that a lot of it, and I was just writing something about this the other day. So much of this is about building trust, and because there are so many projections, right? So it's like
Mhm.
if we could at least for me, if I only had to rely on visuals, I'm not so sure I would really trust
I feel
anything.
the same way. Yeah, I rely more on my feeler than my visuals. Yeah.
Right. And so I'm grateful that there's like a lot of claircognizance, which matches with these vibrational like fields of energy. So those two work together. And it's nice to be able to see, but seeing can be sometimes a distraction, sometimes a false information. So I think that it feels to me like what we're really doing is being asked to build sort of stronger and greater relationships with ourselves and understanding how each one of us is individually designed because all of us have had multiple experiences off planet on planet, and through those experiences we've developed abilities and we have these unique skill sets. So it's like celebrating your uniqueness by understanding how it is that you are designed, and like what's in your sort of energy signature. And so for me, when I connect with beings or guides, the way that they treat me gives me all of the information that I need to understand how I work. And what I mean by treat, not just go, oh, we love you, but like
Yeah.
how they communicate through me or with me is part of the information. It's they're basically
Sure.
telling me like this is how you function, so this is how we're coming through you. And then the more that I know how I function, then the more that I trust in connecting with beings, because beings that are wanting to come through me in specific ways are reading my signature and honoring my design, right, in the way that I'm designed and can communicate. And I don't feel the same is necessarily true with mediumship. For me, at least with mediumship, I feel like it's my job to offer all of the clairs and all of the pathways so that whoever needs help in that sort of frequency, because they might only be able to communicate through empathy or through visuals or audio, right? But not every deceased loved one can just jibber jabber and talk, right? Because they
Yeah.
have to kind of figure out what's
How to
going
work
on.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah, but with the higher dimensional beings, they can see all of you, right? So it's like
Yeah.
to take advantage of the transparency, which and transparency and telepathy go together. So the more that we can clear our fields and the more that we're not ashamed to be seen, we can practice this in the other dimensional realms, right? Because they can see us anyway. We can pretend like they
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And I see it as an integration, with our higher parts of us, with the higher beings, and integrating them. The more we integrate our higher parts of us. It's all about integration, isn't it? The more we integrate the higher parts of us, all parts of us really, especially the higher parts of us, then the higher we are, the more we can work in those higher frequencies. And then there's a congruency with us and I mean, we're all one anyway, but in our higher parts of us, there's that congruency where we're not thinking about these higher beings outside of ourselves because they're a
Yeah.
part of us.
Apparently, these two keep snorting and going.
I hear
They're agreeing. So I'm like, okay, everybody over here is in agreement with Sharon.
that. I like that. That's an exclamation mark. I like
Yeah.
exclamation point. I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
But I like the
Yep.
example of the hypnosis, right? Because we all do sort of the beings talk a lot about how we've been lulled into a false sense of security, right? And that's a lot of what the financial collapse is, right? So if we believe that we're safe if we have money, and by the way, I'm not saying that having um sorry, financial abundance is not unsafe,
No,
right?
it's
But
not
it's not
unsafe.
the
No.
only source of safety. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes health, sometimes, and a lot of this becomes a personal thing. Sometimes our health goes awry because we're being asked to resource ourselves in different ways. Sometimes, if one of our clairs sort of feels like it's shutting down, it's because we're being asked to build or to resource ourselves in a different way so that we can really understand that we are completely connected to source and that we are well resourced, and it can open the way that we are thinking, because we can get into these very confined ways of thinking, even spiritual people, and I would say even and especially spiritual people, right?
Right.
And again, and I think I've said this 1,000 times, like belief systems they're meant to be broken. They're just temporary placeholders.
Hmm.
And so we really, and then sometimes, and the trickiest, most challenging, our beliefs are the ones that we don't even know that we have, which is why
And
choosing
those
to,
are the hardest.
yeah, and those are the hardest ones to know that you have, because you can be like, I'm not racist. And I would say every single person on this planet is, is racist, right? So then you can go towards being anti-racist and really paying conscious attention to, when am I being like racist? How am I preferencing one thing over another? And to pay attention where our preferences are. And they can simply be outside of race, they can simply be preferences, right? With food or one thing, and it can be discernment. And we're allowed to discern, but we're not meant to judge. And those are very different things. So, can we
Right.
be in a state of divine neutrality and then discern, because we know what is in alignment with us, we know what is safe, and we're finding ourselves like constantly co-creating a felt sense of safety in our bodies. And then the more that we do that, and the more that we fully inhabit and embody ourselves and bring in these higher dimensional aspects of ourselves, the body will respond by lightening up, by becoming younger. I mean, I'm sure you've all like
Right.
met somebody that's older and you're like, what? How old are you? And then you're like, your skin is amazing. It's like, yes, because I meditate and take care
That's
of
what I
myself.
say.
That's
I
meditation.
tell people that all the time.
Yeah. I mean,
Because
there
I
are
meditate,
some,
I channel. You're
yeah, there
bringing in
are some
light.
perks, right? But you're also not channeling outside. I think it depends, like
Well,
to be in service, right, is different than channeling, because anybody just because you channel doesn't mean like you're gonna have amazing skin.
no, yeah, but we
But
all
like,
channel all the time. When you're
right,
channeling,
you're being in service, and it's really the love that's moving through you, that's really sort of healing the body and the traumas of the body, whatever, little t, capital T, however you like
yeah.
however you would like to celebrate them. I
Well, there's all kinds of ways of
like to say
channeling.
separate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hello, Rhea. She gives us a heart, thumbs up and a heart. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah. So yeah, with channeling, I mean, we can. I'm in the middle of a automatic writing course right now, and channeling. Um, I mean, we can be channeling all different kinds of ways. Channeling through writing, channeling through art, channeling through anything that's creative, anything that makes us feel good. That or we could be channeling lower energies too. But what we really want to be channeling is energies and situations and that part of us and those uh, situations that lift our frequency because we're always channeling. That's what we are. We're channels.
Hmm.
We're bringing in energy. We're bringing in source energy, and the higher frequency we channel, the younger we get, the younger we feel, the younger we get because it feels so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're not channeling outside of our current capacity. I think that's always important because I find that beings come in and then they'll sort of, you get kind of upgrades and then you can channel different frequencies. 'Cause I think there's a lot of people that get burnt out because they're connecting to maybe not quite vibrational matches. So like the voltage amperage connection isn't quite right. And I think that every time I feel, for me, every time I channel, that means that there's something to integrate, right? Or I have to pre-integrate a lot of things before I'm channeling in front of groups of people because the frequencies are high. And anytime that you're going to engage with these sort of vibrational energies or high frequencies, however you want to look at it, it means that stuff is going to come up in me, and then that stuff that comes up is for me to deal with, to heal, and to look at. And then the beauty of being able to channel, if you're connecting with your galactic family or whomever, is that they can help you look at and heal what comes up for you. And so light language is very similar to me, where it is like light language is a little bit different, but it's a form of channeling where you're literally bringing in medicine that your soul has designed just for you, and then you can use it on yourself. And it also brings up stuff, and it can be the thing that you apply to heal what comes up for you. And I feel like channeling is also similar in that things will come up because you're sitting in these energies, and it's not just about the words that are coming through. And then you can also ask questions about what is coming up and how can I address this and what is going on and what is this connected to, this lifetime, past lifetimes, and sort of receive your own information. And that's very empowering and beneficial. So you're like really being healed and from the human and all the way out to things that you might not even be conscious of.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I've never, in my channeling practice or 20 years when I was first being um, guided through it with channeling, what started with writing, journaling, automatic writing. I've never felt that there was a energies around me that was out of sync. Um, what I understood for me, that's for me, as
Yeah,
my
yeah.
guides brought the energies through, was that they wouldn't give me anything I couldn't handle. And so there was a sinking, and as I worked with these beings more and more, each time we would channel, we could get more, get raise our frequency a little. They would raise my frequency a little bit more, and so we were in sync with a little bit more of taking, merging in with their frequency, and so on and so on. Yeah, that's how it worked for me. I always
Yeah.
felt that um, if I was tired afterwards or not in or exhausted afterwards, because people have asked me, "Doesn't that exhaust you?" And I say, "No, it actually lifts me." And I felt that if you're exhausted afterwards, that like you said, you're not in sync, that there's resistance there somehow, some way, and that's what exhausts us.
Yeah.
That's just my
And I think
take on
some
it.
people's egos get involved too,
Oh,
right? So
totally.
they're like,
Yeah.
I want to channel this being, these beings, I'm going to do it. And they like overdo it. So there's some I've seen channels just get burnt out and then they have to recover, right?
Yeah.
So it just depends. But I
Yeah.
always feel like, I mean, I definitely got worked up towards, I don't have to worry about it.
Yes. No. The more you do it, the more you recognize the energies you're working with, and where you're at in your frequency. Some days are better than others, where you'll feel a higher frequency, and you'll feel more in tune with who you're, or not who, but with the energies you're bringing through, if you're working with those energies for some reason. um, yeah. So hello, Jamie. Love and light to you too. We've got some people here. Daphne. Oh, Kira. Hello, Kira. Daphne says, I love the affirmations you gave us in the course. Sharon, I think this helps a lot with bringing the right frequency beings in. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Daphne. Awesome. Kira, this is fun showing these, showing the messages. I love
Yes,
this.
I'm very excited about this.
Being
I
at
think
the
it's pretty
wheel.
cool.
I know, right? Hey, Kira. Good to see you. Anyone have any questions before we, or anything like that? Um, Before we sign off, we've been about an hour and a half. Well, we did get here late. An hour and 1:11. So, bottom line with the galactic intel, I would say see what you want to see in the future. Because I totally believe, and I've been getting this for years. Um, and what's happening now, we've been warned about, we've been told about it. I saw this 20 years ago, kind of what's been happening, what's going on. And a lot of us have. We've seen things collapsing, because things have to collapse. Things have to be brought down before we can bring in the new, right? Like a detox kind of thing. So see what you want in the world. See it in your mind's eye. Spend some time during your day to see it, rather than focusing on the things that are scary, or the things we don't want to see. And this is basic law of attraction, isn't it? But can you imagine if all of us saw this, every single person, or just even in our country, focused every day for maybe 5-10 minutes on moving into that fifth dimension we keep talking about. I mean, we're there when we're in that space of feeling good, and at one with everything, at one with source. That's the fifth dimension, or the fourth density. And when we're in the heart, that's the fourth density, right? So we're there. We're already there. It's just a matter of believing it and being it, seeing it, living it.
Yeah. I think this also might be helpful for people to remember, because I was sort of like laying there this morning and like loosely wondering about the bank situation, and I don't know, solar flares, and sort of I think I kind of loosely asked about the apocalyptic timelines, and sort of one of the messages that came through was that a lot of us are we're very skilled and have had a lot of experiences being and going through variations of different apocalyptic experiences. So some of us chose to come here because we like, so your soul might be very, very good because it's
Mhm.
gone through many apocalypse experiences. And that might be some of the reason why you came here, because you might be everybody's like the best person to go through an apocalypse with, because that was a potential time, like a very, very potential timeline for a lot of us. So if you can remember that you came here, it's sort of like being prepared to go to battle and then being okay that there isn't a battle, but like to rest in knowing that you'll know what to do if a battle were to arise. But just because you're a soldier and there's no war doesn't mean like you have to be at war. And so that was probably like some of the message that came in when I was wondering about like what's going on with like these apocalypse frequencies that are kind of like resonating out there. It's like there's a lot of souls that came here because in case that happened, they would be really good souls to bring people through an apocalypse, those that were left over after whatever catastrophic event was going to happen. So just because that's in you doesn't mean you need to do anything about it, right? Because we have a lot of things that are in us that we can like rest assured we have that skill and that ability and just sort of take a deep breath and we don't have to use it, right?
Right.
Like a lot of
Right.
people that are
But we
amazing.
have it if we need it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are amazing at killing people, but they don't necessarily because they work for the CIA and they're retired, right? And it's nice to walk down a dark alleyway with somebody like that in a sort of a sketchy kind of area. You might feel safe, right? But it doesn't mean that you have to go around killing people all the time. It's just like don't
Did
worry
I tell
about
you
it.
about my I know, right? Did I tell you about my latest experience of killing bots where I had an EMP rifle? I wake up and I just fell asleep and I wake up and I'm somewhere else. This was last week or something like that. And I'm I have this big black rifle kind of, rifle type of it's rifle in my hand and I'm thinking, how can I lift that? That looks really heavy. How in the world can I lift that? Because I'm thinking of that as me, Sharon, but not in my body as Sharon. Um, obviously. 'Cause I and we're in and there's four other people with me and we're young and so it's some SSP, I'm sure. And we're looking down at some boxes or crates or bins or something and there's these robots that are doing something with these crates and these containers and I lift my rifle and I put my sights on them and I say I got the red one and we're talking on a headset and
Just
I
like
say I got
right now.
just like right now. Yeah, totally. I say I got the red one and I pulse my EMP rifle. I knew it was an EMP rifle. I knew it. And I shoot the red one. I wait for my rifle to charge up again. I say I got the blue one, and and I hit the blue one. And then we're walking, um, and I trip, and I look down, and I've got these big black boots on, like, and I'm thinking, boy, these are some real butt kicking boots, because I love boots, but these were like real black heavy boots and they're ragtag looking. I've got like tape on them, they're dirty. um and then we're on some kind of a tram or a train going through probably underground. We're probably underground. We were in this big um domed build facility that reminded me of a mall or something. I don't know, but and so we're going through a tube, and I'm sitting there with all the other people. They're young, and we're talking about the mission we just did and our next mission. And it's pretty crazy. Yeah, there's a
Very
lot more,
interesting.
but I know. So that's another reality for me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
bringing all these realities into one, and it's crazy. I'm going to start a support group for people who might be in the SSP and see if we recognize each other. Kira, you weren't at, I don't know if you're still here, but you weren't at the support group meeting on Sunday, but Andy recognized someone who walked in the door. Whew, I just sneezed. He's, yeah, and said, "Hey, I know you," but that guy didn't remember him, and he said they go on ships together, and he remembered him from being on ships together and going on missions and things. So,
Well,
Daphne,
cool.
you have memories of these sorts of dreams as well? Okay. Jamie, yeah. Uh, you've been waking up early lately with a strong desire to connect and meditate, like 2 hours early. Usually not a morning person. Yeah, I know. I feel that too. And when I
I'm
don't,
the
I feel way
opposite
out of
of that,
balance.
but I would really like that.
I don't know about 2 hours early, not me, but I definitely feel the need to meditate. Hey, AJ. Good to see you here.
It's a
AJ and
party
Anita's
when we
hanging,
press
yeah,
go
totally.
live.
Yeah. Alrighty. This has been fun, Ashley, as usual.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome, AJ. Good to see you. Okay, so we are out of time.
Mhm.
I've been on looking at the screen pretty much all day. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Ashley, thank you once more
You're welcome.
for bringing your galactic wisdom, everything that you bring with you. As always, let me see here. We got another. Told it being someone that would be good for an apocalypse timeline.
I think there's a lot here because I think that there was,
Yeah,
supposed to be one. So it's good, but you don't have to be that
you
person.
don't
But
have
it's
to.
good to
You
know
don't
there's
have to be. Yeah, astral. Yeah, yeah. But we have the skills, and this isn't our first go around, right? It's not our first go around. This time is we're gonna get it right.
yeah.
Yeah, we've done this many times before, and so we already have those skills under our belt. It's just a matter of taking them out when we need them. We don't always need them anymore. Definitely not me, Jamie. All right. Thank you, everyone. Mwah. Love you all. And we'll see you next time around, second Tuesday next month, and 4-ish. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.